And welcome back to Real Ag Radio. The Farmer Rapid Fire is brought to you by Corteva Biologicals. Speaking of Corteva Biologicals, we're joined right now by the product manager for biologicals at Corteva. It is Tammy Jones. Tammy, how are we doing?
Uh, Kind of cool. It's a little bit cold out there. Is it cold out there for you?
Well, it is. I'm actually in Kentucky and it's snowing here, so I,
Oh,
I
come
brought
on.
winter with me.
Oh no, that's terrible. It's Regina for me today.
Yeah,
Um, Brandon, the last time we talked, we both travel, which is
we
great.
do.
But yeah, it is cold, like minus with a three kind of cold.
Not
Yeah.
-3, that's -30
No,
Celsius, everybody.
30-ish. Yeah.
And I'll
Mhm.
remind all of our American listeners that at -40, that's where we intersect. So you can
Mm.
appreciate how bloody cold that is. I was in Regina last week and it was also cold. So things have not changed in the last week.
The last time I was in Regina, it was a snowstorm, and the biologicals event that we were trying to have was effectively canceled by weather. And this time we almost got frozen out, but the attendance was sublime, like really good this time.
Wow, good. Okay, so
Mhm.
tell us about the event. What'd you do?
So we call these our certified seller events, and Corteva's trying to approach biologicals in a slightly different manner than maybe some of the folks are doing, and that we're trying to set a baseline for understanding how plant hormones work with some of the micronutrients and the macronutrients, and make sure that we're trying to be realistic in the expectations that we set, and then that we're not going to be on every acre. How are we going to be on those acres? Where do we show up best? All that sort of thing. So, some amazing questions in the room from the folks that were there. The one that kind of blew me away is, okay, are if there's a stress, is there any way that we can measure the plant hormone levels to understand that a stress is happening so that we can mitigate the stress?
Hmm.
And I think someday, like in a few more decades, we might get there. But if we think about plant hormone levels, part of it is the ratios and that they're in such minute parts per million, parts per billion, that by the time we take the tissue and send it away to get sampled, we've probably degraded everything that needs to be measured. And so we wouldn't be able to measure it currently. The other thing that we need to think about when we're looking at biologicals is that we have to have the base uh, plant nutrition, moisture, all the other factors ready to roll with those plant hormones. So we can't just throw the baby out with the bathwater and say, hey, let's do a biological and it's going to solve all your problems, and forget about fertility and forget about seeding depth and your seed treatment and everything else. Nope. All of those things need to be there in conjunction so that you're getting the maximum return on investment. Because if we decrease stress in the plant, but we have no building blocks, ah, we're going to be really chill, but we're not going to be able to grow anymore, right?
Well, and with human health and wellness, we're just
Mm-hmm.
starting to convince people to try to do some hormone testing and things like that, instead of just relying on, physical symptoms,
Right.
which is kind of what we do with plants, right? We wait to see physical stress, or
Mm-hmm.
we have some tests with like soil, moisture that tell us, maybe how the plant is thriving or not thriving in their environment. But we really, we still have, you can see where the future may lead in some of these regards. And the more we understand that or are able to, advance that technology, the more opportunity potentially there is out there for the future of something like biologicals. Is that kind of how you see it?
So Dr. Mark Belmonte from the University of Manitoba is here with us, and we bring him to a lot of events because he's got the science behind it. And part of the thing that he mentioned is that if we're waiting for there to be an expression of that stress, we've lost our yield potential and we can't recapture it. So
Right.
we need to be proactive with some of these things, just like human health. Let's go for a run or do the right things with our diet. We need to be proactive with these biologicals so that we're obtaining that yield potential that we're really striving for instead of trying to fix a problem that's already happened.
You mentioned something earlier. I just want to go back to, which is you're not over promising. Do,
I hope we're not.
do you feel that that's happening a lot in the marketplace?
Um, this isn't a miracle cure. It really relies on us having a strong, healthy crop a good agronomic practice. We're not trying to replace fertilizer. We're not trying to replace pesticides. We're looking for ways to optimize that plant health and really close that yield gap, right? From those incredible yields that are out there. And you're in areas right now where we can get some really amazing corn yields, for instance. And here, maybe we don't have the weather for it, but we also don't have all the other factors stacked up for it yet. And so, how do we go from what we're actually getting, whether it's a 30 bushel an acre canola crop, how do we get to 60? How do we get to 80? By all these little factors stacking up. I don't think that I've got all the answers yet, but we're working on it. And so, this is just one more way to optimize everything from start through grow and into the finish and into that yield potential.
You know, historically, our conversation has always been about, trying to kill weeds.
Yes.
You seem though like you are really you're locking into this
Yeah.
biological. Like you're enjoying this.
I love it. It's a new concept, and I think farming, you learn something new every day. And this is just my way of farming, learning something new, figuring out how we can get that big bang for our buck, and how we continue to feed the world. Right? That's what we're really trying to do. So let's keep doing it.
Yeah, great stuff. Hey, Tammy, thanks a lot for joining us here today on the Farmer Rapid Fire. Really appreciate it. And thanks to Corteva Biologicals for being the sponsor of today's Farmer Rapid Fire.
Stay warm.
Okay, everybody, stay warm. That is difficult this time of the year, really, across the country. But hey, you know what you can do when you're inside? You can send me an email, your feedback, your thoughts, your comments, your takes on anything we chatted about today with our farmers. Or if you're interested in being on the Farmer Rapid Fire, send me an email, shaney@realagriculture.com. Thanks, everybody, for getting real and getting connected with Real Ag Radio. Thanks to Corteva Biologicals for being the sponsor, and we'll chat again tomorrow. Cheers, everybody.